Hello there! I have just launched the Kickstarter campaign for the poetry book I'm going to publish. So I'm pretty excited about that, and this is now going to include the Kickstarter video, mostly after here. But you can also, I'll put a link down in the description where you can go to the Kickstarter campaign itself and take a look and see if it's something you might like to support. Alright, thank you very much. Bye. I stole a feather from a phoenix, and it seldom gives me grief. First it shimmers in the sunlight, then it changes like a leaf, turns from violet into silver, then from silver into gold, then igniting into fire, then to ashes gray and cold. Then I sweep it all together, and I make a little pile, and I rearrange my papers, and I wait a little while, till it rises from the ashes, and I take it up again, and continue writing stories with my phoenix feather pen. Hi, my name is Sarah, and I think I'm a poet. It feels a little bit either pretentious or dorky to call oneself a poet. I feel a little bit odd using the title. But I love words, and I love patterns, and I love images, and I love stories, and I love truth, and poetry for me is something that brings all of those things together. I have this little blue notebook here. This has the very first poetry that I ever wrote. I'm a birdie in a tree. I'm as happy as can be, 'cause I'm going to build a nest, as you'll soon see. And I am going to build a new poetry book. My first since this one. It is called Paperscape. Kickstarter is a crowdfunding platform, which basically means you guys give me money to make a thing, and then I make the thing and you get to have the thing also. It's going to have about 50 to 60 poems in it. There are a couple more that might still be added, or I might even have some completely brand new ideas before the book is actually in print. Poetry is a lot more than rhyme, but rhyme is also one of my favorite tools to use in writing poetry. So this is essentially all rhyming poetry. So Paperscape has lots of poems about paper, of course, lots of poems about books, poems about music, poems about art, poems about friendship, poems about my relationship with God, and poems about tea, because tea is awesome. Paper is one of my favorite metaphors to use in a poem, because paper it can mean so many things. It can be used in a lot of different ways. It's such a ubiquitous presence in our life. Paper is everywhere. We use paper for grocery lists, for arts and crafts, paper for filing lawsuits. We use paper for so many things. And paper is temporary, and paper is very flammable, and paper is fragile, but it also is able to carry something much greater than itself. The book is going to be illustrated. I'm having a lot of fun with that. I learned to draw relatively recently in life, like a few years back. Later on, just to relax, I started drawing in more of a scribbling style, and also adding color, because I love color so much. If you're unfamiliar with my poems, they're a bit whimsical, mostly lighthearted, but occasionally I'll get like a little more serious too, although some are very silly. In addition to Paperscape, this Kickstarter is also going to cover a nice little side volume. It is called The Second-Rate Poetry. I was extremely sleep deprived. I was very bored. I was a small child. I had a strange dream. I was in a bus station at 2 a.m. These are all some of the reasons that the second-rate poetry poems have come to exist. It includes the poetry in that little blue book. The second-rate poetry also includes poems that just don't make a lot of sense, but I like them still, somehow. And some poems that I think are fairly good poems, but just weren't quite good enough to put into Paperscape. But I still kind of wanted to share them with you. Really grateful that you took the time to watch my video, and I hope you'll consider backing, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.